Hello, Ken. We need to restart this for the day, I think. Ugh. Okay. Get ourselves situated. I hope everyone had a great weekend. Oops. Hold on, I closed you away. Ugh. It was good. I definitely got real nauseous there for a minute, though. I had to hold on tight. Definitely got nauseous. It's all right, though. I just ate breakfast, too, and I gave half of it to Jack, because, I don't know. I'm already full. I don't know if that makes any sense. Ken, do you want a shadow card or do you want a talisman? Which one would you like? Frank, welcome in. I hope everyone's having a beautiful... What's today? I almost said Thursday. It's definitely Monday. Holy. Cray. Crazy. Molly's Musings came out this morning. The Daily Collective also is up if you are someone who is over there on the Patreon. All right, Ken, let's see. What do we got? This is the Blinded card. It's brash and thoughtless. Let's see. Does it seem like everything irritates you lately, or you're susceptible to getting easily annoyed or aggravated? This card can suggest that you're prone to angry outbursts, snap judgments, and irritability. What are you missing, and what steps can you take to rebalance these aspects? Perhaps all you need is a break. If this message resonates with you, then you may need to be a little bit more grounded and engage in practices that protect your peace so you can see things clearly. There are many different ways to ground your energy so you won't be irritable or on edge. Getting outside and connecting with nature is one great method. You can also use meditation to practice and picture your energy centers descending to the earth and becoming grounded. You will be well protected and benefit from it. In the meantime, you must keep in mind that the best is yet to come and refrain from losing your temper or giving in to temptation, emotion, or ego so you can keep moving forward. A lot of what actually boils down to maintaining your peace, and maintaining your peace is mostly dependent on adding daily practices such as meditation, yoga, or breathing exercises. If you pull this card in a reading, it may be to convey a message of mindfulness. Be sure to safeguard your peace to avoid regretting anything you may do when you're upset, and you might make a decision without giving it much thought and then later feel remorse about it. The key is to develop emotional self-control so your emotions don't harm you or other people. What's really funny is that's a good card. I just did a video about this because I'm not going to tell you the whole thing because you'll probably see the video, but I just saw this practitioner who's been practicing for 30 years, and she's trying to say that if you're someone who's new in your practice and you're charging, you're doing it from greed. And I had to do a response video to that because that's ridiculous. I'm so sick of certain people thinking they're the only people who can do this. If you are an apprentice as a roofer, you get paid. If you are just starting out as a construction helper, you get paid. So the fact that all these spiritual people who have been doing it for a very long time seem to think that everyone else is beneath them and that's how they attract business kills me. I can and I'm going to say this in the nicest way possible. If you are a practitioner who's spouting how long you've been doing this work and the only thing you do is focus on newbies and how to bring them down, tell me you're concerned. Tell me you're concerned about the quality that you put in, because that's what it is. There is people for everybody. If you need to go out of your way to scare people and make people look bad to perpetuate your business, that's a problem. I just think that's a red flag in itself. So just be, Laura, I appreciate you. So please just be cautious of that. There are so many people who try to think that people don't deserve what they deserve because they've done it longer, and it just ain't fucking accurate. It's the same ideology when you ever have people who tell you, you're too young to feel that way. Honey, it's the mileage, not the years, okay? There can be a 2024 car sitting outside with 400,000 miles. Looks great, but dig a little deeper, you know? So this is why I always tell people, use your discernment with everything, okay? And don't let people move on your fear and anxiety to get you to do something. The people who try to control how you feel are a little sketchy, because why would you try to control someone's reality like that? We talked about that in the thoughts portion of the Patreon today. Amen to that, Laura. Amen to that. And I mean discernment in everything. Like, I can't suggest enough to make sure you ask questions. Don't ever just take something at face value. Like, ask a question, you know? A lot of people say things with the utmost confidence and they're fucking wrong. That is one of the biggest things I have to do shadow work on, is where someone tries to argue a fact with me and they're convinced they're right and they're talking so confidently. And it's like, you are wrong. And they're like, no, I'm right. And it's like, no, like here is the documented proof that you are right. No. It's like, all right. Can't argue with that. So use your discernment with everything. Is there anyone who hasn't had their Oracle card today who would like one? I'd be happy to pull it for you. Happy Monday. I hope everybody had a absolutely beautiful weekend, whatever you were doing. Don't forget that the Etheric Foundations class is coming up on this Sunday. There's 2 spots left if you are someone who would like to work with the modality of energy work that I utilize. You know, Laura, I've heard that, but also I'm truly convinced that there are some people who have lived enough before that to really have honed in some things. I think there are certain people who live through certain things before that happens that really give them like a foundation. And the reason I say this is because whenever I am looking for someone to work with for me, I need you to show me that you have been through hell and back again and tell me how you did it. Because no credential tells you that, and no credential means you're trauma informed. I think one of the biggest jokes in college right now is that you can get a certificate on being trauma informed. Are you fucking kidding me? You want to be trauma informed, go experience some trauma. But getting a certification that says, I'm trauma informed and I know how to talk to people. No, you don't, respectfully. I know so many, listen, I'm not trying to shit on people. I really am not. But I know so many women who are under the age of 25 who are graduating college with, you know, clinical degrees and social work degrees, and they're minoring in trauma-informed care. And it's like, I'm sorry. So how do you understand trauma through a clinical lens without having a full understanding of it? You don't. This is why I also say credentials, you have to be cognizant in that. That's why when, you know, I've had other readers come to me, well, I'm credentialed. Who gave that to you? A person? How much did you pay for it? That doesn't mean anything to me. There are people who go to college for 10 years. They still don't have a working understanding of the degree that they have. So this is why I always tell people, especially if you're someone who has been, you know, on the Patreon and you hang out to like hear me go more in depth about this stuff, take everything with a grain of salt, truthfully. And I say that about me too, right? Fact check me. If there's something you don't agree with, go have at it. Like, please, I encourage you to do that. Please don't just blindly believe people. Champagne, yes, I think you missed part of the conversation. So the conversation was about credentials around being trauma informed. So while you may need to be licensed and supervised, you still can do things that are harmful and you can still not have a full understanding of it. So that was just the whole conversation. No hate to the industry, but I think there are certain credentials that just don't make sense, because it's one thing to have a book understanding of it. It is a completely other thing to not have a real working understanding of it. And as someone who has seen that firsthand, I will stand by it forever. It does. Deep understanding comes from having the want to. If you are someone who just sees it as a paycheck and your patients are just a number, that also is part of the problem. There are a lot of people in industries that they shouldn't be in. And it's because they don't actually have the passion for it. There are so many people who are just working a job because they feel that they have to do it. And it's not something that they like or believe in. And as someone who has worked in nonprofits and some of these other systems, I will tell you that there are definitely people who just wait to clock in and out, and that's it. Laura, Laura, thanks for the corgi. Let's see what your shadow is. So I hope everyone's having a beautiful day. I hope you had a great weekend. Don't forget, tonight is movie night if you're someone who is in the Discord. Also, the Ether series started today on Patreon. You can also find the very first collective energy conversation over there as well. And the daily collective is out today too. Hi, Melissa. Spaz, I think my biggest thing is make sure you don't label yourself to where you put yourself in a gilded cage. Whatever you feel in your heart, also don't let anyone else tell you what you are and what you aren't. So when you are ready to put something on your heart as a label or accept something, have at it. I learned this when I first started coming out of the spiritual closet. I used to call myself a developing evidential medium, until I had another medium say to me one day, why are you calling yourself a developing medium when you are one? And I was like, you know what? You fucking right. And you know why I was doing that? Self-worth and other people telling me that I wasn't good enough because I had only been doing this less than they had. All right, let's see what your shadow is. Happy Monday, everybody. Don't forget, if you're looking for classes, you're looking for conversations about, learning your own gifts, feel free to check out the YouTube and the Patreon. So this is the authoritarian shadow. It's manipulation and dominance. Excuse me. Let's see. Drawing this card can allude to the misuse or overuse of the authoritative power that surrounds you. It could come from you or someone else, frequently a boss or a partner. You cannot allow someone to manipulate you into thinking anything false because only you have insight to your intentions and innermost thoughts. If things are truly honorable and in everyone's best interest, you have nothing to be ashamed of and no cause for regret. There are those who may take advantage of your kindness, and there are certain people whose levels of sadness and suffering may force you to doubt your reality. They can withhold affection or support as a tactic to punish others by using their power to manipulate or persuade people to satisfy their own desires. Do not let their pain or suffering affect you, and do not let them make you feel inferior. They want to press their views and difficulties on you because they don't want to feel left out, and they want other people to suffer along with them so they're not alone. Do not let them pressure you into feeling the same way you do. Alternatively, you can be exploiting your intellectual superiority to make others feel inadequate. Be cautious if you or those around you are using these strategies to grow and elevate yourself. The harm will only subside if you acknowledge your own truth in your heart. And if you can manage that, it's time to move on. Maintain your resolve and do better as you are making progress. That was fab. I love this shadow deck. Shadow alchemy is the thing that I love to do. So I offer shadow alchemy in private sessions. It is probably the most rewarding thing that I do in my practice, is being able to help people see what is standing in their way, how to broaden that relationship with themselves, and really allow them to step into their power and take control of their life versus letting other people run it. Laura, thanks for letting me pull it for you, my friend. Always an honor and a privilege when you guys allow me to be in your space. So if you have never seen me before, it's nice to meet you. My name's Molly. I crawled out of the spiritual closet it's been over a year now, to start helping people bridge the gap between spiritual connection and genuine human connection. I have been connected into spirit my whole life. I have had experience after experience, and it took me years to finally grab the reins of that experience and start running with it. And so this is why when people are dealing with scary experiences, they're new to this, they're just starting to open their gifts, that is honestly what I love to do, because there are a lot of times where we feel alone or we feel judged, and that our experience is different than others. And everybody can do this work. Everyone can do mediumship. Everybody can do energy work. These are all things that you guys can access if you're willing to start building on the foundation for it. What is your question, Laura? Thanks for the hat and the mustache. So I teach energy, I teach mediumship, I teach all the ways that you can connect into yourself. So if there is free stuff on YouTube, there's also free stuff on Patreon. If you're looking to connect in your guides to start learning energy work, feel free to check them out. And if you're someone who is interested in starting to dig through your shadow work and really understand at a fundamental level what is going on and how do we take control of it and move through it and see it differently, come check out the Shadow Alchemy. You can do whatever kind of question you want. I just feel the question and see what comes from it. So whatever question you got, feel free to ask it. So I hope you're all having a beautiful day. Also, if you are someone who is new to this and you're like, what are my gifts? Like, what do I have going on? What are ways that it shows up for me in my daily life? Feel free to check out the Intuitive Blueprint report. It's in the bio. It comes to your email. So whatever time you book the appointment for is around the time it shows up. And it talks about what channels are open for you, how it shows up for you, what blocks and restrictions are you currently going through, and ways you can keep developing. So feel free to come hang out for that. Also, it's movie night in the Discord if you're someone who wants to come watch a movie. Our Discord is where we do classes. It's where we ask questions. It's where we learn together and we share together. If you would like to be a part of it, you'll find that in the bio too. Hi, Ayana, how are you? Is there anyone who hasn't had an Oracle card today who would like one? I have the Talisman deck out, but if you would like a shadow one, you could find it right up there. You got it, Melissa Wand. There is a connection that I can't shake. Why does this keep coming up when I let it go? Give me a second. Is this like a relationship? Is there a dude on the other end of this connection? Because when I'm asking this question, I feel it in my belly and I feel it in my throat. And so what I'm going to tell you is that it's cyclical. There is a lesson to learn, and it gives me the impression that there is a lesson about learning what you deserve and what you want. Because I have a feeling that it feels like there's like emotions that are being held back. There's commitment stuff. And it also feels like you overpour out of your cup trying to convince this person to see your worth. And no one is going to see your worth, Laura, until you're ready to see it. Does that make sense? So once you understand the lesson that this person is trying to teach you, you'll be able to let it go. Stop chasing though, especially because I get the impression that this is someone who, I get the sense this person has a big emotional wall up and you're not going to get through that. This person they don't understand what like love is. They don't have that support and confidence in themselves, and therefore they'll never believe you when you say that you love them. They'll never believe you that you care for them. They'll never believe that you see them differently than they do because they can't see themselves differently. That is when you have to make the decision of, are you going to keep doing this and living in that cycle, or are you going to take the step back for you? I hope that was helpful. All right, let me see what my card peeps have for the day. All right, I think I had Melissa. Hold on. I saw Melissa. I saw Arlie. Who else did I miss? Ayana, did you want a card? Laura, thanks for trusting me with it, my friend. Truthfully, a lot of the time, we know the pattern. One of the things that I offer too, if you're someone who's a part of Patreon, I offer what's called a soul design report, and it talks about your human design and how you're built, but it also talks about your soul contracts. So I can tell you that a part of my soul contract is, oh, bye, Melissa, sorry I took a minute, is learning how to be who I am through the relationships that I live. It's a part of my soul contract. I will always discover more things about myself as I have more relationships with people. It's just some of the things that I agreed to do. So whenever I'm struggling, especially in whether it's a platonic or romantic relationship, I always ask, like, is this something I'm outgrowing, or is there a lesson that I'm not looking at? All right, let's see, Arlie, my friend. If there's anyone else who would like a card who hasn't had one, let me know. Let's see. Arlie, this is the Learn the Truth card. Let's see. We are human, and our nature is prone to error. Those errors are opportunities to grow and master a new skill. Sometimes we are unable to see the truth because we compete with ourselves, and our ego doesn't let us move forward because first we have to acknowledge our own shortcomings. You know what you have to do, and it's time to sit with the uncomfortable feelings. It's okay if it doesn't feel familiar because progress happens when we step away from our comfort zone. The truth can be so liberating, so see the opportunities that weren't there when you had your eyes closed. The owl will be your guide through the darkness. Arlie, that was fabulous. Laura, I get it. I totally get it. This is actually one of the things that we practice and we talk about when I do shadow alchemy sessions. We also talk about it in soul sessions, is really like, how do we look at the relationships we have and what is our part in them. Because I know that, you know, I'll tell you a couple things about me. I'm a survivor of human trafficking. I'm a survivor of domestic violence. You know, I have lived through things, but I also have had to look back and take accountability for myself in some of those aspects, because things got worse in certain situations because I allowed it to continue, right? So I can't completely blame it on that person either. I have to take my own accountability in it. Do I blame and shame myself for it? No. Was it right? No. But I also recognize where I stayed. And then also that pattern will keep trying to pop into your life until you recognize it and shut it down. It's the way that we learn. Being able to like actually understand what we want and don't want is a part of that pattern. Laura, 100% get that. Get it. There are some people who really come into our lives just to give us an understanding of who we are when we're with them and how other people can impact us. You know, there have been so many times, and now that I look back, there were relationships that I stayed in that held my growth back. And I allowed it because you know, if this person loves me, they must know what's best for me. But if they don't even know what's best for them, how are they going to tell me? And if they don't even know themselves at a fundamental level, how would they know me? They wouldn't. Yep, I get it. I've had that. I have had that. And you know what? I talked about this on the Patreon this morning, but there will be times where the person who you know, call your best friend, that you feel the safest with, that you love unconditionally, sometimes one day, all of a sudden, they're going to look at you differently. You're going to look at them differently. You're going to feel differently. And it's not that anything's wrong with you, but you're growing, right? And sometimes we're not in alignment with people. Sometimes you grow one way and someone grows the other way, and then they become a weed instead of the shade or the helper, you know? And so there are times where we have to let people go. I know that I was in a relationship and my therapist kept asking me why I was staying in it. And she even got to the point where she was like, you're not allowed to talk about him anymore until you do something about it. Like, you have to leave. And what really like got me is the reason I didn't want to leave is because I didn't want to abandon that person, right? I didn't want them to know what that feels like. But was that what my goal was? No, I was protecting myself. So if that person felt abandoned, that's not on me. And we will keep ourselves stuck. It's not dumb at all. Not dumb at all. It is totally a real thing. And it's hard for people when they haven't had that experience to understand it. It does. It 100% does. I used to wonder, like, why do I keep getting in these whacked out relationships? And not just romantic ones, but like, I would become friends with like people and then I'd be like, what in the hell did I get myself into? And then I went through my soul contracts and I was like, wow, that makes a whole lot of sense. Especially because one of my other parts of my soul contract is having to learn how to take my power back, which means having to stand up for myself and having to set boundaries for myself with people. And I came from a place where you can't have boundaries with certain people because of who they are. And that's just not accurate either. So that takes some time to deconstruct as well. Is there anyone who hasn't had an oracle card yet today? I'd be happy to pull it for you if you would like one. Also, today is movie night in the Discord if you are someone who would like to come hang out. If you are interested in learning the modality of energy work in which I practice, the class for that is in the private booking link. It is coming up on Sunday. Also, the first Molly's Musings video posted today. And the Daily Collective's out. So is the first segment of the Ether Foundation series. You got it. Laura, thanks for the heart me. All right, Alyssa, let's see. Let's see what we got for Alyssa today. This is the Elixir of Life card. Let's see. Mortality is a reminder that life is short. The Elixir of Life card does not offer immortality, but it shows up in a reading to remind you that there are things that are greater than us, and by adopting this philosophy, we can become part of a whole that is of itself immortal. We want both simplicity and abundance, and seeing the pure energy connecting us can be liberating. Our unconditional capacity for love and kindness is immeasurable and has the ability to remove all fear. Acknowledging the laws of nature that govern the universe places on us the power and responsibility to create our own sense of meaning. That was fabulous, Alyssa. Thanks for letting me pull it for you. So happy Monday, everybody. If you've never seen me before, nice to meet you. My name's Molly. I crawled out of the spiritual closet about 1.5 years ago to start helping people bridge the gap between spiritual connection and genuine human connection. And the reason is because too much of this is gate-kept. Everybody can do mediumship. Everybody can do energy work. Everybody can do all of these things. There doesn't need to be this big secret society around it. We are all connected to each other. So if you are someone who has had experiences that make you feel cuckoo, you're not alone. You're not crazy. These are real things that all of us have access to. I do. His archetypes are something I've looked at quite a bit, actually. Carl Jung was also a mystic in his own right, if you look at a lot of his work. He definitely was someone who was able to garner information from the other side and put it in a lens that made people be able to understand it better in a way that works for the human brain. A lot of time, fact and logic kick us out of being present and in the realm of things that are intangible. And sometimes we also live under this guise of seeing is believing, and it's actually believing is seeing. Right? If you do not believe something is possible, if something isn't in the network of possibility, you'll never see it because your brain will deny it. It'll push it down. It'll submerge it. And so that's why I always say, like, we have to start being able to look at things differently and being willing to change our perspective. It is really a big part of it. I think I'm also going to do an energy scan when we get to 10,000 tippy taps. So thank you guys for tapping the screen. And if there's anyone who has not had an oracle card, let me know. I'd be happy to pull one for you. It is. I think too, one of the hard parts is that language is human, right? So in the world of souls and energy, it's frequency, it's sound, and it's not language. And so the need to try to understand and describe things in language is a human form of control. It's why one of the things when people come to me about their spirit guides, I won't tell them their spirit guide's name because respectfully, they're going to make it up for you anyway. Half of them don't have one. They are going to make it up for you in a way that makes sense. And so I will tell you that the first time, and yes, you can, I'm going to pull it for you in a second. The first time, when I was 16 years old, was the first time my spirit guide ever gave me a name. And I was just laying in bed one day, and I was like, what's your name? And she answered me like this. And I remember going, that's a weird, common name. I don't believe you. I was like, that makes no sense. Shouldn't you have some fancy name like Queen Edwina the 75th or something? And she gave me like the most simple name. And so at 16 years old, I was like, I don't believe that. And then like a year, within the last few years, I've started looking back on some of those and Google what the name Samantha means. That'll give you all the explanation that you need. But sometimes we don't understand this in the moment. And so that's why I tell people, sometimes the information you get isn't for now, it's for later. All right, Laura, let's see what your card is. The example I have of that for you is my spirit guides came through someone else about 5 years ago. And one of the things that they said to me was, when are you going to realize that you can't eat sugar? And I got offended. I was like, excuse you? Because that had never been said to me. Well, 5 years later, here we are. I really can't, I have to monitor my sugar intake. So that's why sometimes when people get readings and they're like, that doesn't make sense, I always tell people, pin it. Because wait, just wait. You should look up what it means. Alyssa, it does, big time. When we're able to start changing our perspective and looking at things differently, you'll be amazed at the things you've been blinding yourself from. This is the balanced emotion cards. Elizabeth! Long time no see, my friend. How are you? All right, Laura, let's see. Jellyfish are graceful creatures that trust the ocean currents to take them to their destination. Take a moment to evaluate the way you spend your energy. Sometimes we cannot see the grand picture and we get caught up in the moment. If we're unable to see the lesson a situation is teaching us, we can get entangled in our emotions and the need for control. Are you holding on too tightly to feelings that don't serve you well? It's easier to find a solution when you feel calmer. Find a peaceful place in your home or outside where you can spend time allowing your emotions to exist without judgment. Take a breath and acknowledge them and let them go of those that no longer support you. That was fabulous. I also want to remind you that there is a free meditation on YouTube and Patreon if you want to meet your spirit guides. There is also a free energy basics class there as well. Let's see. I am fabulous. It's good to see you. It all does. Trust me, we can ask the same question over and over again and we'll get the same result. That's also the definition of insanity, so be very careful. Be very careful. Elizabeth, do you want a card for the day? Happy Monday, everybody. I hope you're all having a beautiful day. There are two spots left for the energy class coming up on Sunday. If you are someone who would like to join, the link is in the booking link. Also, the Ether series started on The Ether series started on Patreon today, and so did the first episode of Molly's Musings. Monica, hello! Happy Monday! All right, Elizabeth, let's see. What you want? Baby, I got it. Whoa! Elizabeth, this is the Equilibrium card. Oh my gosh, you're fine. What's your question? We like questions around here. We listen and we don't judge. Okay, every now and then we do judge. I'm just going to be very honest. It's time to align your intentions with actions. You are dancing between opposite forces and your mind is racing with ideas. The complexity of motion is important in the discovery of new methods, and when all the forces acting upon us balance each other, we are at equilibrium. Our perseverance and ability to let go and coalesce in a state of harmony is learning to accept misfortunes, but having determination in the pursuit of our dreams brings confidence. The water takes whatever shape is poured into you, so you can direct where your energy goes. Monica, thanks for lighting up the finger heart. Elizabeth, that was BEA beautiful, my friend. Thanks for letting me pull it for you. Laura, what's your question? What is your question? Monica, you want your oracle card for the day? Happy Monday, everybody. Don't forget tonight's movie night if you hang out with us in the Discord. Also, intuitive blueprint reports are out if you are someone who is curious about what's opened up for you. And then if you are someone who is interested in learning the modality of energy work that I practice and also getting you connected into your energetic guide, the class for that is on Sunday, and I think there's 2 spots left. You'll find it in the private booking link. Hi, Savannah. All right, Monica, let's see. What you want? Oh, Monica, this is the crab. It's the let go crab. It's the let go crab. Let's see what he says. Just like running water, everything keeps constantly changing. You've been holding on to a burden that's been slowing you down, and sometimes we know that what it is, and in other times, we need to examine our needs and our behavior. Often holding on comes from a need to control our life and surroundings, and it gives us comfort that we can direct the circumstances and avoid a painful path. But if we let go of the illusion of control, we can find peace and enjoy the ride. Being vulnerable offers an opportunity for connection and closure. The little crab has to learn to let things go, and the flower in front of him is a delicate gift from nature to bring joy. That was fabulous, Monica. Savannah, thanks for the hat and the mustache. As soon as I see Laura's question, we're watching The Pacifier. It's an old comedy. An old comedy movie. You're welcome. All right, I need to connect into you for just 2 seconds. Give me... root shock. There's some kind of fear, I gotta be honest. Like, I think fear of commitment, fear of being too close, fear of you seeing too much of their, like, internal world. This person gives me, like, major avoidant vibes. So, I gotta tell you, I think they scared themselves. Because sometimes when we let people get too close, that can be scary. Because then they'll see who we are. And if we don't like who we are, we don't want anyone else to see it. You know? You know? It's going to be good. Tonight is comedy night. So feel free, if you're someone who wants to hang out with us in the Discord, feel free. The link is in the bio. The link is in the bio. Also, there are 2 spots left for the class coming up on Sunday if you would like to learn the modality of energy work in which I practice. And we're also going to get you connected into your own energetic guide so you can keep building your practice after the class. Don't forget too, there is free meditations and classes on the YouTube and the Patreon if you want to start somewhere. That's what it feels like to me, Laura. That's what it feels like. He's pretty heavy down there. Okay. So Savannah had a question, I do believe. I don't think I saw it. Yes, Ayana, you can. And then if there is also someone else who would like a card and you haven't had one, please let me know. Been there, Laura. Been there. All right, Ayana, let me see. And then Savannah, I'm coming over there. Ayana, this is the concealment card. Hi, Queen. All right, let's see. You've taught yourself how to be strong and how to be a go-getter and how to protect yourself. You have conquered obstacles because you knew where you stand, and hiding behind a mask can feel safe. When you conceal your true identity and don't let people fully know you, they can't hurt you. The glamorously painted faces are very appealing and provide a sense of shelter. However, if you keep avoiding connecting on a deeper level, it can leave you feeling vulnerable and alone. Commit to making choices that are better for your unique essence and purpose. I am true to myself, Ayana, is the affirmation. And that fits really well with all the work you've been doing. All right, hold on. I'm coming, Savannah. Sorry. All right, let's see. How to make the Cali move in the next couple weeks possible. Chose to take the leap instead of because... Hold on. I am beautiful. How are you? Laura, that has to be even harder that you have to share the same space with that awkwardness. That has to be really hard. You're welcome, Ayana. Savannah. Savannah, can I ask you a question? When you get uncomfortable, do you get do you feel like you need to run? Do you also get the feeling like you need to run out of your body? Do you have trouble staying in the same space for a long period of time? Welcome back. I hope everyone's having a beautiful Monday. Don't forget, tonight's movie night. Also, the Ether series started on Patreon today. So did the Molly's Musings series. It is all started today. Elizabeth, I'm coming to you next. Thank you for that. Savannah, I'm gonna say this to you in the nicest way possible that I can articulate it. I think there is something to be said about staying in the same space to overcome versus running from. So I think you need to ask yourself, is there something that you're running from that you think won't follow you where you're going? And I think the answer is sometimes we try to outrun ourselves. Does that make sense? Happy Monday, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day. I hope you had a beautiful weekend as well, whatever that looked like for you. Don't forget, tonight, movie night. Also, a bunch of new stuff came out on the Patreon today. Hi, Bree. Savannah, I gotta go to Elizabeth, but there's one more thing I want to say. I think I need to look at the right now versus what if you waited and sat with the decision, if you would feel a difference and change. Does that make sense? So sit with it instead of trying to run to the answer or run to the change. Sit with it, because I think sometimes we try to outrun those uncomfortable feelings. Okay. Elizabeth, can I come over and sniff around in your energy, please? I'll tell you 3 things you got to know. Happy Monday, peeps. I hope you're all having a beautiful day, whatever you're up to out there in the ether. Did anyone do anything exciting this weekend? Did everybody have the same fingers and toe amount at the end of the weekend as they did at the beginning? Hi, zombie. All right, Elizabeth, let's see. Elizabeth, are you working through some stuff around self-confidence and self-worth to express yourself and your opinions and your emotions? Did you go to Chernobyl this weekend, Hunter? Elizabeth, are you also dealing with the fear of being how you're perceived by other people? Okay, here's the main things that I notice in your energy. Your root chakra is heavy, it's dense. This is just where we hold like fears and stability. When I come higher up, when I go into your belly, the energy lurches up and it gives me, I don't know how else to say it. Please don't take offense to this, but the way it feels is when I connect into people and they're dealing with that like self-worth, self-confidence issue, it like bubbles up and gives me the feeling of vomit, because what happens is it's getting stuck in this expressionary space, right? Feelings and emotions. And so it tells me that we're struggling with the confidence to express those things and share those things. The other thing too is I wouldn't be surprised if you're dealing with an intermittent headache that starts at the back of your head, base of your neck. And a lot of the times this area gets dense from like resentment. So if you're dealing with one of those creeping headaches that happens intermittently, just do some energy work around it, like cutting your cords. That's a big thing. If you start doing the energy hygiene, it'll really help you a ton. And then keep doing the inner work that you're doing, even on the days that it's scary. Because I get the impression that they're showing me like, they show me you hiding behind a door. Okay, so they're like, it looks like that you're like making the decision of whether you're ready to be seen. And once you fully accept that and step into your power, you're gonna like pop out like the Kool-Aid man. Hello. Also work through some of those feelings of safety around expressing your truth. Because I think one of the things is that you've been told you're too sensitive, you take things the wrong way, you're too much, and that also causes us to make ourselves smaller. Elizabeth, let's see what your shadow is. Savannah, I see you, boo. All right, let's see. What do you got for a shadow, Elizabeth? Definitely think there's some stuff to move through. It's this is one of the things, honestly, Elizabeth, that we do a lot in the shadow alchemy sessions, is being able to up and move through some of those, because those reactions are where our body is storing that. If anyone's looking for a reading recommendation, I suggest The Body Keeps the Score. It's a great book. And this is also what we talk about in shadow work too, is where are these triggers coming from? We call that finding an energetic file. If you guys, we can do an exercise for that too, if you guys would like to do that. Alicia, thanks for the follow. All right, let's see. What do you got for a shadow, Elizabeth? This is the activation card. This is direction, choices, and certainty. See, Monica knows. It is a great book. It really is. Because of the decisions and choices you made, your energy is beginning to shift, and you'll start to understand that you have much more power than you ever thought possible. When you acknowledge your shadow and you work with your darkness, external influences will sway you or steer you in a direction that you didn't intend. Recognize that deciding on and establishing your direction is the most important thing you can do. What a wonderful time for you to develop and expand into this new direction. This is a reminder that even though you may not realize it, the choices you're making and the plans you're following are important. Your spirit team is letting you know that they are working with you and not for you. Your future is always shifting and it is not fixed. Before your incarnation, there may have been intentions that were arranged. As you become more aware of this, you will realize how magical you are, How you experience life is directly related to the choices and decisions that you make. Elizabeth, that was fab. Thanks for letting me pull it for you. And thanks for letting me in your energy. Savannah, what's your question? So I want to remind you, if you're someone who's new here, nice to meet you. My name is Molly. I crawled out of the spiritual closet about 1.5 years ago to start helping people bridge the gap between spiritual connection and genuine human connection. Because the way to get where you want to be is to be your own best friend. And a lot of people don't find worth in that, which is fucking weird. You're so welcome. Hi, Claire. So I want to tell you a couple of things. If you are looking to start understanding energy work, I have free resources on Patreon and YouTube. I also have paid resources if you would like that as well. If you are someone who's looking to really jump into your energy and start moving through some of the things, check out the Shadow Alchemy sessions. I would be more than happy to chat with you about them too. And then also, if you are someone who just wants to dip your toe in and see what you have going on, I have the Ether Intuitive Blueprint reports, and those tell you what channels are open for you, what's in your way, how your gifts show up for you in your daily life, and then some ways to develop and keep moving through it. So feel free to check those out. And if you would like to see what a blueprint looks like, I would be happy to show you it. Even though I'm an MB. Savannah, I'm going to tell you something. And I'm not going to answer this as a question, but I'm just going to straight up tell you that the experience you're having is an experience I have also had. I actually ended up suing my landlord over it. The amount of time and effort that went into suing my landlord wasn't worth it, in my humble opinion. And it also destroyed a relationship that I had. And so what I will tell you is that even though that there were times where it wasn't great to live in it, I learned things through that experience. And also I learned that running away from everything doesn't help and it doesn't fix anything. And sometimes the lessons that we experience are there for a reason. So if you feel that, and so this is why I always say, please use your discernment with everything. If you feel that you need to move, that is a decision for you to make. I will never look at someone and say, yep, you should move across the country, because you have free will. So I can read energy all day long. I am never going to tell you what you should do. I will tell you the things that I can see. I will tell you the options that present themselves, the energy lines that are available. But as a practitioner, you will never ever find me telling, Laura, thanks for the unicorn. We're going to do your reading in a second. I will never tell you what to do, how to do it, when to do it. I will never tell you what your job should be, because those are taking your free will away if I do that. So what I can suggest to you is sit with how you feel. If there is an opportunity that has presented itself to move and that feels right for you, move. But make sure that you are not making a decision based on fear and shame, and that you can ask for a different perspective to see it differently. Is that helpful? Nourish, hello. Thanks for the hand hearts. Laura, what kind of reading would you like to do, my friend? I have 3 options for you. We can do general, see what comes through, which can be a little bit of whatever. Could be some mediumship, could be energy stuff, could be your spirit guides. We could strictly do energy and energy work, or we can see what your guides have to say. Completely up to you. Nourish, how have you been, my friend? Nourish, do you want an oracle card real quick before I start this reading? Also, don't forget the Ether series posted today if you want to start building an understanding of your energetic body. Get it? Sometimes too, if we find ourselves asking the same question, is it coming from a place of anxiety? So the 3 options are this. You can let me into your energy. We can do a general read and see what comes through. Sometimes it's energy and mediumship. Sometimes it's energy and spirit guides. Sometimes it's all energy. It's really just what needs to come through at the moment. We can also specifically ask for messages for your guides, or I can come look in your auric field and tell you what's going on there, and then we can actually do energy work to move some of it and transmute some of it. Thanks for the roses and the hand hearts. All right, Nourish, let's see what we got. What do we got? Whoa. Nourish, this is the Elixir of Life card. Savannah, I'll be here, my friend. I really will. That's why too, there's a bunch of free stuff available for you guys too, because I never want you to put yourself in a position, so I try to make things available for everybody at every level. Mortality is a reminder that life is short. The Elixir of Life card does not offer immortality, but it shows up in a reading to remind you that there are things that are greater than us. And by adopting this philosophy, we can become part of a whole that is of itself immortal. We want both simplicity and abundance, and seeing the pure energy connecting us can be liberating. Our unconditional capacity for love and kindness is immeasurable and has the ability to remove all fear. Acknowledging the laws of nature that govern the universe places on us the power and responsibility to create our own sense of meaning. Steph, thanks for the follow. Happy Monday, everybody. All right, let's do this reading. I'm putting up the sticker so no one can yell at me that I'm ignoring them because it's not on purpose. Hold on. Nurse, thanks for the fireworks. General, gotcha. Okay. All right, let's see. You're welcome, Nourish. It's good to see you, my friend. Okay. I gotta change this music or I'm gonna sing and dance in the middle of this reading, and that's rude. Nourish, thanks for the stingray. That was the cutest thing I've ever seen. It reminded me of Finding Nemo. All right, I lost my unicorn. Okay. All right, Laura, can I come over into your energy? Do I have permission? Right? That was super freaking cute. Okay. Do you sometimes, Laura, find it hard to take a deep breath? Okay. Thank you for that. Okay. Are you someone who finds yourself, are you constantly on the go? Like you constantly be needing to do something? Do you also find that you are impatient with yourself? And sometimes that bleeds into being impatient with others. Thank you guys for lighting up the gallery. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you, thank you. I'm also going to go out on a limb here. You're holding on to a lot of responsibility, huh? Like you take on a lot of responsibility for people, to help people, because you don't want people to feel alone. Yeah. Nourish. Thank you, my friend. Beautybomb.com. You have like, you have chronic back stuff that you deal with? Yep, that'll do it. The reason I ask that is because when I look at your back, there's this density that goes up the back of your sacral chakra, and it kind of goes up towards the back like of your heart space. And so sometimes it'll manifest in a physical like achy like muscle situation. And when I see this, I think a lot of your passion you were giving away to other people. Do you understand what I mean by that? I think you also have spent a lot of time putting yourself on. Okay, so let me ask for a different way. Give me a second. Do you constantly find yourself doing things for other people and being service for other people that you don't find time to do things for yourself and the things that you like to do? Do you deal with anxiety a lot? Do you also avoid crowds? Okay, you have a spirit guide here who would like me to tell you a couple of things. So one, you are more energetically sensitive than you give yourself credit for. Okay, so do you often get these like goosebumps or like cool energetic feeling that resonates through your body that doesn't have an explanation for it? So this spirit guide who has stepped forward for you hangs out a lot on your left side. She has a very feminine presenting energy, but the way she comes through, she tells me, is a lot of your shoulders, and you feel it on both sides, even though she stays over on your left. And so one, she says you give too much of yourself to others that you do not give to yourself. And two, that you see worth in everybody else, but are just starting to learn to see worth in yourself. Do you understand that? Couple things. She also makes mention to me that you have had these experiences throughout life, but you stopped talking about them because people didn't believe you. And two, that you have made the decision recently to start looking more into this, whether people judge you or not, but gives me the impression you're keeping it to yourself for now, which totally get it. She specifically, like, I just need you to know this. If you wanted to start doing mediumship, if you wanted to start connecting into your guides, you would have access to this much easier than I think you would. And what's standing in your way is you believing that you are not worthy enough of being able to hold that or receive that support. Because you are a lot more connected than you think you are. And the reason you're suddenly starting to get interested in it is because it's becoming more apparent. Also, do you have you might not know this, but your guide has shown me that she has come to you quite a bit in your dreams. Do you struggle with remembering your dreams? Okay, that confused me. Hold on. Okay, so gotcha. That makes more sense. So she has shown me that she has come to you sometimes, but you may not be able to make out her face. What you will be able to make out is her energy, the light she is, and you'll be able to understand her by her hair. So you can also, if you want to, start a dream journal if that's something you're interested in. But one of the things she really talks about is you being in control of your own energy. Because it looks like sometimes things affect you. Also, do you deal with a lot of people throughout the day? They're all as smart as him, I promise. So when I look at you, right, you have a lot of cords, which, like, this is when we talk to people, when we send messages to people, even being in the same room right now, we have cords open together. So whenever you send a message, whenever you connect with someone, not in person even, it has to be online, whatever it is, in person, these are all ways in which we open cords with each other. And so if you are someone who is really interested in starting to do this work, I have a free resource on YouTube and Patreon that's Energy Basics, and it'll teach you how to ground yourself, shield yourself, cut your cords, and call your power back. And that'll help you too with some of the energetic backlash that you get. Because are you ever minding your own business, just like sitting, having a good day, and all of a sudden you're overwhelmed with an emotion that you didn't have 5 seconds ago? Like all of a sudden you're angry, or all of a sudden you're sad. So those are from open cords with people, and you are getting their reverb down the line. So this is another thing when I talk about energetic hygiene is if you're having those experiences, you're catching someone else's reverb. So you can like make sure that you're keeping up on your hygiene so that doesn't happen as much. Are you someone who tends to be in relationships and then the period where you're not in a relationship is less than the period you were in the relationship? Okay, so as far as the relationship conversation goes, until you are able to build a relationship with yourself and validate yourself from within about how to feel loved, the same pattern will repeat itself. So until you are able to understand love at a fundamental level for yourself and to give what you seek in a relationship to yourself, the same pattern will continue. The other thing too is you give too much of yourself to other people. So she gives me the impression that when you get a job working for somebody, do you very quickly excel and become very good at the job that you're doing? And then all of a sudden you have 900 more responsibilities because you're good at your job. Okay. I guarantee you, by the information she is telling me, if I did your soul contracts, I would be able to tell you a couple of things. One, your validation and worth comes from how you can be perceived and how worthy you are to other people. And a lot of the times that comes from this deep unworthiness that we hold on to that is asking to be seen instead of filled. A lot of times I find people that hold on to like anger in their belly. It's their defense mechanism to the sadness that sits there, because it's easier to be angry than it is to be sad. At least what we're taught, you know? So I think from the information that is being received now, that the thing you are working through the most is finding who you are and learning to love who you are without that having to be validated or understood from anybody else but you. And I also get the impression that you are struggling with the worth that you can do that for yourself. And if you are ready to start digging into that shadow work, you'll start uncovering some of those things, and you'll also start opening up your gifts more. Do you have a maternal grandmother in spirit? So you have some lost loved ones that are like, were you guys close by chance? She gives me like, yeah, okay. So just know that one, she's like one of your biggest supporters. And two, she is like right here. She's like in it. She really feels that you can do anything you set your mind to. Like this is like, you have the ability to do it. But as you already stated, you get in the way of that. So I want you to know a couple things. She is with you. She was like one of the first ones that's like, hi. But your guide was like, I have some things to say. So you, in doing this work, can open those, there's something about a dog. Do you have a dog that passed that you've wondered if she like has up there or something? Is there something about a past dog connected to her? All right. So, just know that she's bringing that information through. So that is her way to confirm for you that she hears you, because she's saying to me, like, she doesn't believe me. She doesn't, like, she doesn't know if I hear her. She doesn't get my messages sometimes. And they're there. I just want you to know. Just want you to know that. So the more you do this inner work, Laura, for yourself, okay, the more you'll be able to make these connections for you. The more you'll be able to receive these messages, because they are very energetically strong. Like, you are someone, I think, who genuinely receives a lot of energetic messages, but I think sometimes you get stuck in the mindset of it's just my anxiety, or I'm just making that up. Especially when I wouldn't be surprised if sometimes you get nauseous and then it's followed by a hot or a cold flash. That is also something to pay attention to. In the way that energy shifts. And so you're not crazy. You don't have a stomach problem. In the world that I live in, one of the biggest ways spirit comes through is through our bellies and our guts. And I'm going to do a whole Molly's thought about that coming up on the Patreon. But it's one of the reasons, like, when you see me do readings, you'll see me burp a lot. You'll see me go like this. And it's because that's how my body processes energy, is through your belly in your system. And I think it's the way the wave is currently in your brain and how it connects to your vagus nerve. Yep. That's another reason too that energetic hygiene is really important, because once we are able to do that, we can secure our energy, and we can also mitigate what we allow and what we don't allow. So if you're someone who's done, some sessions or classes with me, you'll know that you can use the observer box, especially in big crowds like that as well. Okay, let me just see if there's anything else she's got for you. 1 second. The only other thing I'm going to say as they step back is this. There are some times where we need to change our perception about the way we see things. So if you find that you're getting stuck in one viewpoint, in one way of looking at things, ask yourself questions and also ask for different perspectives. Because when we get stuck, especially when it comes to me through this way, there is a certain perspective that is stopping us from being able to experience and see the future. And so make sure that you're not getting stuck in looking at those cycles and how they've repeated, because you have the ability to break them. As long as you are ready to make the commitment to yourself versus committing to other people over yourself. Laura, that was fab. Thank you for letting me come over and be in your energy. It's always an honor and a privilege. Your grandmother loves you to pieces. She has your puppy. I hope you know that. So there is so much love for you in this space. And it's really about, they want you to feel that for yourself without needing the validation to come from anybody else for you to understand that. What do you mean, what about research? Third eye, thanks, dude. Jen Marie. Are you asking me like a question about your current research? I'm going to be honest. I think that's what this is. I genuinely think that's what that message was for, because it came through right at the end and I didn't ask specifically for something like that. So sometimes we have to make sure that what we're aligning with is still our passion and still feels right for us. So if it feels right for you, keep going. But if you are starting to question it or have different thoughts about it, sit with it and see where that may be coming from. I had this conversation with my guides actually last night, which is, we may invest years into something, but sometimes we have to abandon it. And even though we've put all these sweat and tears into it, sometimes it doesn't align with us anymore. I went through that with my career before this. And my spirit guides told me 2 years prior that was going to happen. And I didn't believe them. I didn't. And they were like, they literally came to me and they said, you're at a crossroads in your career. And I said, what do you mean? I just got a promotion. I am doing exactly what I worked for and what I wanted to do. And they're like, no, you're at a crossroads. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? And then a year later, it went, and the road blew up. And I said, well, shit, you were right, I guess. And what I will tell you is that when you are off track, the universe will find a way to recorrect you. So I hope everybody knows, like, you don't have to worry about, am I doing the right thing? Am I on the right space? The universe will blow your fucking life up if you're not. I don't want to scare you, but like, I'm telling you, if you are not doing what you're supposed to be doing, if you are out of alignment, the universe is going to grab your wheel and it's going to go like this. And you are going to have to go, what? And then take a step back. And I will tell you that the last time that happened to me was in 2023. And if you had told 2023 me that I would be sitting here doing this work today, I would flip you off, more than likely, 100%. I tell you were full of it, honest to God. So just know, and I thought at the time, I really did, like, I hope you all know this. When my life exploded in 2023, I thought my life was over. I did. I was like, this is the end. We have hit the precipice. This is the end. Life is over. It is now ended. And actually, now that I get to look back at it, the universe is like, that was your gift. And look what you built with it. And that is perspective. Because what I thought was the worst thing to ever happen to me turned out to be the best thing ever. But if you had told me that at the time, Molly, don't worry. This is fine. This is for your best interest. I literally would have smacked you. If you looked at me, this is for your best, I would have been like, no, it don't feel that way. And that's why another thing that my guides and I have had a conversation about lately is, don't worry about things feeling right. Just do it and the feeling will follow. And that is the shadow work, because there are still things that I'm working through. We all are. I don't think anyone will ever be healed. No one will ever be the stage of enlightenment. I think this is part of the journey, is learning what works for you and how to move through it. Amen to that, Laura. Amen to that. So keep going with it, truthfully. And even if no one, I'm just going to say this, even if no one believes in what you're doing, as long as you believe in it and you're doing for the right intention, don't let them stop you, because that's a lesson in itself. It really is. It is a lesson in itself. And you are giving voice to the others who maybe were too scared to make that jump. This is one of the reasons I do. This is one of the reasons that I'm so outspoken about credentials and how long people have been doing this, because that doesn't fucking matter. It don't. You're not better than anybody because you've been doing this for longer, right? If you were at the level you think you are, you wouldn't have even said that. Just saying. So I will always fight for the underdog and those who are new to this, because ain't no one gonna bully you on my watch. I will. If you're a part of the Patreon, you know I'll fight people, okay? I'm just saying. I will. I'll do it. Jen Marie, I love you. I love you. So, Laura, thanks for letting me in your energy. Savannah, you too, my friend. I know that this stuff is hard. Sometimes life is hard. And especially when we feel like no one gets us, we're all alone, especially when we feel like we can't be safe with other people, we feel like other people aren't safe, and that's why we have to learn to be our own lighthouse. What's your question, Savannah? I didn't see it. You're so welcome, Laura. So welcome. Thanks for allowing me to be in your space. And truthfully, come hang out with us in the Discord. Come hang out with us in the Patreon. You guys will find so much information. Also, if you are someone who is interested in learning the modality of energy work that I utilize, the class for that is coming up on Sunday. I think there's 2 spots left. And we're also going to get you connected into your own energetic guide so that you can keep doing the work. All class signups are now through the private booking link. You'll be able to find it there. Sure, Bree, what we doing, my friend? What we doing? So you mentioned if I get an opportunity, Callie, and take it, but originally I was just going to sell. I hate how they give us a, this is the other part about Patreon that I like, is that there isn't like a character limit. Savannah, if you sold all of your things and got an airplane ticket to California, would you have a place to live when you got there? Would you be able to sustainably feed yourself and take care of yourself? Like, these are the questions. So I think you don't need me to answer that any further, because what are you going to do when you get there? The plane ticket is just one piece of it, right? So this is why I will not make the decision for you. I don't know another way to say it, as in, I think you need to sit and see where the reaction is coming from. I get that. The only thing I will also tell you is blind faith is an illusion. Blind faith is an illusion. So a lot of times manifesting is with intended action. And then also don't forget that the law of attraction works in mysterious ways. So we may think that we're attracting a certain thing, but our energy is actually attracting it differently. So if you are feeling this from a place of lack, you're going to attract more lack. Does that make sense? And so I don't want you to do something out of a fear knee-jerk reaction and then regret it on the other side. Bree, I got you, my friend. Okay, Bree, what kind of reading are we doing? Claire, would you like your oracle card? Monica. I love that. I'm so excited for the class on Sunday. It's going to be great. I really love doing this stuff. So your options are, we can do general, see what comes through, whether it's energy, whether it's your guides, whether there's some mediumship in there. What I do is I set the intention for information to come through for your greatest and highest good. Or we can specifically do energy and then do some energy work. Or we can see what your guides just have to say. It's really up to you. All right, Claire, let's see. Oh, sheesh, that was crazy. All right, let's see. Claire, this is the happiness card. We can do it, Bree. Let's see what comes through. Sounds good to me. It is time to appreciate life with a bright and positive outlook. We all go through difficulties, but when the waters are finally still, we can fill our hearts with gratitude and radiate the joy from what we have accomplished. Cherish every moment and shine brightly. The flower in the center of the card is soaking up the abundant positive energy from the two suns and forms nourishing and delightful seeds. Practicing mindfulness and inner gratitude can open a new world for you, full of compassion, love, clarity, and joy. Radiate your energy and share your gift with others. Receiving people's help can bring you as much happiness as helping others, so don't be surprised if that joy becomes contagious. Ooh, that was fab. Okay. All right, Bree, I'm coming over there. Let's see. Claire, that was beautiful. Bree, have you made a change or a decision about something recently? I was going to say, because they're bringing me to your heart space. So that makes total sense. Let's see. Have you also been thinking more about your future and setting yourself up for the future? Do you struggle with okay, do you sometimes feel like your head and your heart have a lot of arguments with each other? I'm going to ask you a kind of weird question. Have you been like recently reflecting on other versions of yourself and like who you have been? So the reason I ask this is because they've brought me to two very specific places. One, they've brought me up to the left side of your face. And so they specifically your left nostril. And for me, how do I say this? Energy for me, I see it through quadrants. So if you've ever are someone who's looked at the eye of Horus, you'll notice that that eye is broken up by our senses in our body, and they all mean something separately. So when I get this pressure on the left side of your nostril, right over here, it's right under the eye and it leads over here. And to me, this is sometimes where our intuition is clouded and we're cutting ourselves off because we overdo the logic. The other thing that's interesting is they're bringing me to your heart space. And when I ask about it, because normally heart space is like grief, sadness, loneliness, and when I'm asking them what the grief is, they give me the impression that it's working through grieving other versions of yourself, because I also get the impression that there are some things you hold against yourself that have happened in the past that you blame yourself for. Is that true? It's like holding a resentment against yourself a little bit. And here's the thing, when I asked them to tell me more about that, I'm now at your left shoulder. And so they're giving me the impression of you looking over your shoulder at the past, and that is saying that the cycles from the past are affecting the way in which you look at the future. And they tell me you hold yourself to this really high standard because you want to make sure that those patterns don't repeat themselves again. Is that also true? And it also feels like, do you struggle with like trusting people and like letting people into your inner world? You have that's a weird. Okay. Do you have a older male in spirit that would be on your dad's side? It almost gives me the impression of like would be like dad's brother, but I can't verify that. Like that's what it feels like, but I can't see it. Hi, Courtney. Okay. There's let me just ask a question. Give me a second. He is someone who passed when he was older. He definitely gives me the idea that he is on your father's side. And he also gives me the impression that he is like very like caring and loving and like just wants the best for you. He's definitely connected to dad. Most definitely. But trying to find the connection to dad is strange because he gives me the impression that they're brothers or like act like brothers. There's something to that. I'm not quite sure what it could be like in their soul family, whatever it looks like. But he's definitely connected to dad's side. He's definitely an older male. Gives me the impression that he passed from like the big C. And so he is like in your energy. And like it's this like comforting, like kind of caring, like wants the best for you. But he also, have you been someone who's had to like put your emotions on the back burner because of a lot of things that you've experienced in life? Have you found a nickel head side up in the last week? Put a pin in that, because I think it's going to be coming to you. Just as a little confirmation for you, because do you also struggle, Brie, when you receive messages to like convince, like, do you use logic to kind of convince yourself that it isn't happening or that your brain made it up? I also get the impression another way that you get messages too is through birds. Specifically like bird feathers, like find them in weird places, like they call to you, like you just seem to find them. These, like, they're trying to give you messages to give you that confirmation that it's okay for you to step into this part of yourself. But there's also a thought of, are you afraid that people are going to judge you for these abilities and like doing these things? Okay. They keep bringing me right to your back, like the back of your heart space. And this is usually where like betrayal lives. And sometimes it's that we feel that we have betrayed ourselves, or when we're holding on to betrayal from other people. And so the impression that I get is that this is something that's been like an ongoing life cycle for you, where you're put into these like spaces of hiding and not being able to be yourself, and that builds the self-betrayal. Does this make sense? So being able to step into your power and express these things for yourself without the fear of judgment is something to work through, because the more you release that fear of perception and judgment, the more information you will get. And two, working on that trust with yourself, because the more we open those receiving wounds, Brie, the more that we can access the information that's being given to us, and also while feeling worthy of the information that we're receiving. Have you been getting random bouts of nausea that don't make sense? Okay. The next time this happens, I want you to ask who it is, because you have lost loved ones and guides who are stepping in and out of your energy on a regular basis. And your guide specifically is giving me the impression that lately, when they've been stepping into your space, they're making you nauseous. And I'm here to tell you that, and this is also for everybody, that's normal. You're not broken. You're not doing anything wrong. So as human beings, our like natural vibration is to hang out in our lower quadrants. And that is where like fear, shame, guilt, cravings, all that stuff hang out, which naturally lowers our vibration. So as your guide steps in, their vibration is up here and ours is down here. And so what happens is your belly's going like this, because it's trying to reach that. And so that's where that nauseous feeling comes from, because you're like, what is happening? Because your energetic body is trying to move and your physical body is like, stop, what is happening? We don't live there. So the next time that you get that feeling, especially if it's followed by like a hot or a cold flash, just sit and be present, Brie, and ask who it is. And you can also just ground your energy. I think the reason is because your guide has like stepped forward, because they're giving me the impression that they're with you a lot, but you're struggling to get the confirmation from them. And sometimes, do you get the impression that sometimes they don't want to talk to you, or that they're not, like, you're missing something or you're doing something wrong? You're not. I just want to let you know that. So I think that's why he wanted to bring this to the realm right now, because I also dealt with this when I really, like a couple of years ago, started really reconnecting in with my guides again. I'm like, why do you make me feel like I'm gonna puke? Like, I really thought it was me. And then I had to have the conversation of, this is why it's happening, and it will pass. The more you put the work into of dealing with your energy, the more it'll pass, and you'll be able to control your energy and what happens to it. All right, let me ask if there's anything else, Bree, and then I'd like to pull a shadow for you if you're okay with that. Hey, Bree, can I ask you a question? Are you on the Patreon at all? Okay, there, if you ever feel like it, you let me know, because the last thing that they like brought up to me is your heart space. And so on the Patreon, there is a couple of etheric exercises and energy works for opening your heart space. There's sacred containers with certain beings for your heart space. And if that's something you ever wanted to do, I will make one of those available on the Patreon for free, so you can go in and do it. I think doing some intentional work around getting into your heart and out of your head will help you move through some of that too, Brie. It's like trying to meet in the middle versus keep waging the war. Hi, Flamingo! How are you? All right, let's see. What do we got, Brie? This is the Turbulence card. Transition and displacement. Let's see. Being caught in some stormy weather signals that there are challenges ahead. This is the card of turbulent times, and you might feel a buzzing sensation from all the things that there are to accomplish. The sheer volume can be distracting and agitating, and some people may be overwhelmed by this intensity, while others feel ignited with enthusiasm. You'll arrive at your destination in due time, but you must weather the storm to cultivate resilience and persistence. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been put in this scenario. Your guides have faith in your ability to endure, and all you need to do is to succeed what you can. Is to learn what you can from challenges and how to cope with them. Life's hardships provide you with opportunities for growth, allowing you to advance in consciousness. Consider exercising to feel more at ease, and practice mindfulness and make the best of the situation. Even though it may be challenging, you'll manage to get through it without incident. And if a circumstance like this ever arises again, you'll be that much better equipped to handle it. If something isn't true or doesn't feel aligned with you, let it go. That much more of what is meant for you can then flow into your life. Bree, that was fabulous. Also too, Bree, don't forget that on the YouTube, there is the class to do basic energy stuff, like grounding and all that stuff, if you want to check it out. And you can start incorporating that into your daily practice and building it that way and see how it feels. Do. Bree, thanks for letting me come in your energy. I appreciate you. Thanks for letting me come visit. I hope everyone's having a beautiful Monday. You're so welcome, Bree. Whatever you're out there doing in the ether, I would like to remind you of a couple things. One, the Ether series started in Patreon today. If you are someone who would like to learn about energy brick by brick, it is a 10-week series that has started. The very first Molly's Musing video has come out today. You will hear all about my opinion about collective energy, the Schumann resonance, astrology, the way things affect us, and how I will be doing my energy updates moving forward. That is all out today. The new shadow work for July is also out if you are someone who's interested in the shadow work journal. That is there. And what else? It's movie night if you're someone who hangs out with us in Discord. So come watch a comedy with us. And if you are someone who has patiently been waiting for me to pull you an oracle card, please let me know, and I would be more than happy to. And I would like to give you a friendly reminder that there are 2 spots left for the energy class on Sunday. If you are someone who would like to learn the modality of energy work that I utilize, please feel free to come hang out for that class. And then the intuitive blueprints are out. So if you are someone who would like to understand what gifts are open for you, what's in the way, how do they show up for you, how do you keep growing them, check out the intuitive blueprint report. Whatever time you book it for is the time it'll show up in your email. I can show you what it looks like if you would also like to see. And then if you are someone who's interested in really digging into your energy, where you're stuck, what are your resistances, where are you getting in your way, come hang out with me for Shadow Alchemy. They are a blast. All right, let's see. I got, as I'm throwing things, I got Savannah and Ducky. Courtney, I saw you in here. Did you want one too? All right, let's see. What do we got for Savannah today? Ooh, this is the Resilience card. Ducky, it's good to see you, my friend. There might be a task you have to undertake that will be difficult, unpleasant, or inconvenient. It may affect other people's feelings, but you're obliged to first make sure that you're safe and provided for. When our physical needs are not met, elevating the mind and soul can sound impossible. Use your positive attitude and steady temperament to avoid focusing on feelings of guilt or doubt. Dealing with adversity makes us more resilient, and it does the same for others. We cannot shield our loved ones from difficulties, but we can be there to hold their hand and offer our understanding and empathy. You are making the right move. Well, Savannah, all I'm going to tell you is you can't make that shit up. All right, Ducky, let's see. What do we got? Ducky, this is the mindfulness card. Let's see. There is a lot of beauty in the stillness of the mind. Allowing ourselves to be present in the moment and not worry about how things could have been or what we could have done better can open our minds to the treasures of what we have to be thankful for. With great patience and perseverance, we can accomplish anything. It's best not to rush into action or judgment too quickly, and often patience is not about how long we can wait, but what we do with our time while waiting. We can learn to be grateful for every moment of our day, even when we feel stuck and things don't go our way. Like the praying mantis, staying mindful will make all of your endeavors more fruitful and meaningful. That was fabulous. All right, let's see, Courtney. I hope everyone's having a beautiful day. Don't forget that Shadow Alchemy sessions, if you want to start learning in a private setting, I don't consider it mentorship. I consider it tutoring. If you would like to learn one-on-one mediumship, you want to really start working on one of your gifts, you want to really learn energy work, I offer that as well. And don't forget, there are group classes, and the next group class is to learn the modality of energy work in which I utilize and connect you into your own energetic guide, so you can continue doing that work. Courtney, this is the success card. You have planted the seeds of success and the stars are in your favor. Gently guiding your way forward, trust that though the storms and heavy rain, this seed will grow and prosper. Forget the feelings of doubt. You are about to achieve significant accomplishments, and it's been you alone who has done the work. This is a well-deserved success, and when the victory comes, it cannot be taken away. So enjoy it. Courtney, that was fab. So I hope everyone's having a beautiful Monday wherever you are out there in the ether. Is there anyone who has not had an oracle card today who would like one? And if you're someone who has questions about your own stuff, you have questions about the Patreon, classes, whatever it may be, I'd be happy to talk about it. Also, movie night is tonight in the Discord if you're a movie night peep. And then don't forget, there is also, of course you can, there's also a bunch of free resources between the YouTube and the Patreon as well. All right, let's see, Flamingo. Flamingo, this is the concealment card. You've taught yourself how to be strong and how to be a go-getter and how to protect yourself. You've conquered obstacles because you know where you stand, and hiding behind a mask can feel safe. When you conceal your true identity and don't let people fully know you, they can't hurt you. The glamorously painted faces are very appealing and provide a sense of shelter. However, if you keep avoiding connecting on a deeper level, it can leave you feeling vulnerable and alone. Commit to making choices that are better for your unique essence and purpose. That was fabulous. Jen Marie, do you want a card? I don't know if I pulled you one today. Flamingo, thanks for letting me pull it for you. Unusual activity detected on your Apple account. Suspicious. Anyway, I hope everyone is having an absolutely beautiful Monday. Yes, if you go to the private booking link, Jen, there is a section that says group classes, and you will find the sign up for the class right there. So if you are someone who is looking to sign up for the class on Sunday, all classes go through the private booking link now. So just click the private booking link and you'll see a tab underneath that says group classes, and that is where you will find it. All right, let's see. What you want, baby, I got it. What do we got, Jen Marie? Jen, this is the magical power card. Let's see. We are born with the special gift of magic, and we often overlook the extraordinary power to bring happiness to those around us or in our own hearts. In the center of it all is a very powerful emotion, love. By setting up our intent, we can create a new world, and believing in ourselves begins with loving and being kind to who we are, understanding our limits and pushing just a little further to better ourselves. In these ways, we become closer to fulfilling our purpose in life. The dragonflies start their life as larvae in the water and later rise up in the air and fly. They are our connection with nature and our guides to the realm of magic. Jen Marie, that was beautiful. So don't forget tonight's movie night. If you hang out with us in the Discord, it is movie night. Hi, Shiloh. Tonight is movie night. Also, the Ether series launched today in Patreon. It is 10 weeks long if you are someone who's interested in doing a deep dive into energy and all the things. Then what else? Oh, Molly's Musings, the very first video came today. That is over on Patreon. It is all about my understanding of collective energy, the way things affect us, and how energy updates will be going moving forward. And what else? I don't remember. That's all I remember right now. But I hope you're all having a beautiful Monday, whatever you're out there doing in the ether. If you are someone who would like an oracle card and you haven't had one yet, let me know. I would be more than happy to pull it for you. The other thing too that is probably going to come up a lot this week is I'm seeing, respectfully, a lot of people telling other people they have negative attachments, and stop doing that shit. I have talked to a couple of freaked out people lately, and please stop. There's no need to be rude like that. There really isn't. If you don't understand something, don't negate it as negative, for real, honestly. You're doing other people a disservice. So that's something that'll also keep probably coming up this week. And then also don't forget, if you're someone who wants to start looking into how do you work with your energy, there's a ton of free resources that I have between YouTube and Patreon. And also I've started some of them on the old TikTok in small short form. So feel free to check them out. And then also the class to learn the modality of energy work, in which I utilize, is on Sunday if you are someone who would like to be a part of it. And the next class is going to be on the 26th of June. I'm going to announce it sometime this week. So stay tuned. What's everybody up to today? Anything exciting? What did we have for lunch? What did we have for breakfast? What was your glimmer of the day? Tell me all the things. Sorry if you hear Jack snoring. I re-upped on my incense today. I've been on a dessert incense kick lately. Don't ask me why, but it's been great. It smells great. Oh, what kind of protein shake? Some protein ain't that bad, honestly. It really ain't. Shiloh, do you want an oracle card? Savannah, what's your question? I hope everyone's having a beautiful day wherever you may be out there. Oh, I also got to give you guys a tissue culture update. Jen. Do you like the Huel stuff, Shiloh? I've heard of it, but I've never tried it. I think nausea's going around today, huh? Everybody's guides are like, what's up? What's happening? I talked about it in the Patreon, but I was at the courthouse today and all of a sudden my spidey senses started going off. I was like, what's wrong? Is Timmy in the well? What's happening? Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's the plus. Some things taste like chalk, you know what I mean? Nervous system was the first thing that lit up for me, Savannah. So doing time to like learn to ground your energy, all that type of stuff. How to be in control, like when you get anxious, how do you work through that? How do you work through the emotional trigger as it comes up versus being reactive? Does that make sense? That's shadow work and nervous system work. All right, Shiloh, what do we got? What do you want? Why is the music like not playing anymore? This is the Safe Travels card. Are you starting a new journey within yourself lately, Shiloh? Let's see. Let's see. You are on a journey into the unknown. You are in search of a newer, expanded understanding of yourself, others, nature, or a higher good. This experience opens your mind and lets you see a part of the puzzle you never knew existed. This card can mean it's time to take a pilgrimage, travel abroad, or an inner journey of introspection. This act is of great importance in knowing who you are and the meanings you are looking for. The card can mean a metaphorical journey into your own beliefs, and it might be time to discover the constraints of the limiting thoughts we sometimes impose on ourselves. The Arctic Tern, a wise and experienced traveler, will guide you towards the shore. I am ready for this journey, Shiloh, is the affirmation. So my biggest suggestions for Shiloh, thanks for letting me pull that for you. My biggest suggestion around starting nervous system work is you have to start somewhere. So that is starting with the bare bones basics of building yourself an energetic practice. And what I mean by this is simply you have to build in a practice for yourself every day. Grounding, shielding, cleansing, calling your power back, cutting your cords. That means doing it consecutively, building a devotional practice around it and discipline, right? And so then it's being able to sit more, ask more questions, be present with yourself. Savannah, what I will tell you is that this stuff doesn't happen overnight. It takes time and it takes working through things as they go. I think there's something in the Patreon, a class about finding energetic files. And so I'm going to give you this real easy thing. The next time, Savannah, that something like causes an internal reaction within you, I want you to ask your body, what is this, right? So I'm going to give everybody this exercise real quick. I want you all to think of the last time that something pissed you off, okay? So the last time you got really mad about something, I want you to think about that for a second. Think about the last time something pissed you off or you got really upset about it. And now that you're thinking about it, I want you to focus on where you feel it in your body. So as you're thinking of that thing that pisses you off, where do you feel it in your body? That is where the energetic file for that reaction is stored. And so then once you figure out where it hangs out, then you can start asking it questions. Okay, so our head, right? This is our crown chakra. This is also our third eye. So Jacob, if you're hanging out in your crown, a lot of times our crown can be closed because we're being cynical, we're feeling judgmental, or we also are feeling like, this also goes to like open centers, but it can be if you feel like someone is trying to take control of things, right? There is something to now ask yourself of, why do I feel that way? Did I feel this way? And a lot of times we'll find that we're being defensive of stuff. So I can tell you for me, the last time, when I think about the last time something really pissed me off, it's in my belly. And the reason is because I felt like I was invisible and that no one took me into consideration. That hit my self-worth and my confidence, right? So my confidence and self-worth live in our solar plexus. So when I find that energetic file, it's in my solar plexus and it's saying, and I have to sit with it. Now I know it's in my belly. right? And now I know that it's dealing with my self-worth and my confidence. And why did it affect me in that way? And then I can understand where that reaction is coming from. And one of the first veils of illusion that we go through in this experience is really about defensiveness. And what are you defensive about? What are some things you want to defend? And you'll find that you're defending a version of yourself who is probably the younger you. It's something we do a lot in shadow alchemy sessions where, we talk about doing inner child work and being able to bring your inner child along. Because a lot of the times it's your inner child that's acting like that. You ever dealt with a grown person, but they're acting like a 2-year-old? It's because you're not talking to the grown person right now. You're talking to the angry inner child who wasn't heard and didn't get to be understood. And that's why they're still reacting from that space. So remember that other people's inconsistencies and their projections onto you are their own. That is their own inner world. And if you're dealing with someone who's talks down to you, they're cruel to you, they're judgmental, they're cynical, you're never good enough, just know that that is internally the way that they feel about themselves. And it has nothing to do with you. And I'm going to give you the most painful lesson that I ever learned about this. Okay? I was in a relationship with someone for a couple of years. And so obviously through that relationship, they told me they loved me. We lived together, all these things. One day they started acting very different. And so I finally had to go look at them and say, do you want this relationship or do you want to be friends? And the person was automatically like, I just want to be friends. I'm worried about somebody cheating. I'm like, where did that come from? But okay, well, here we go. Come to find out. So 6 months later, this individual who was under the influence of alcohol, but neither here nor there, looked me dead in the eye and said to me, I never loved you. I don't know what love is. And let me tell you something. I went upstairs and cried for like all night long when that person said that to me because, one, you just admitted to me that you lied to me through our whole relationship. You just openly admitted it. And then two, I internalized it. So I thought it's something wrong with me, like it has to be a reflection of me. And the more I was able to do the inner work around it, if you don't love yourself, you won't believe that anyone loves you, and you don't know what love is. You are emulating what you think love looks like, not because you have a working understanding of it. That wasn't a reflection of me, but I needed that lesson for me to learn it. And so this is why too, I tell people, don't internalize everything that people say to you because it speaks more about them than it does about you. And there are times, and I'm sure everybody can think of it, where someone told you something and it took the wind right out of your chest. You felt like you just got kicked in the face. I know I've been there. And when that happens, for me, instead of lashing out or trying to, figure out how to fix it, I go and sit back and I go, why did that offend me? Or why did that hit me? It's like if I'm scrolling on social media and I see a video that, hits me the wrong way, instead of making an angry comment about my belief system, I go and inspect my belief system. I ask questions. Why do we feel this way? Where is this reaction coming from? How do we look at this differently? How can we see it from this side? Not saying I'm always going to change my opinion, but I want to know why I am the way that I am. That is like one of the most fundamental questions I have about myself is, who am I at a core level? And I've spent my whole life trying to figure that out. And that's what I'm also here to help other people do. Because once we understand ourselves from our lens of understanding, we stop seeing the person our parents think we are. We stop seeing the person our boyfriend or girlfriend thinks we are. We stop seeing the person our friends think we are. We stop seeing the person our kids think we are. And we see ourselves for who we are, not the building blocks of the foundation that they have laid up for us. So if you are someone who is starting to go through this journey, you are worthy of taking your energy back. And I'm not saying, listen, I'm just the woo-woo lady down the hall, okay? You can listen to me or not, but what I will tell you is I function under the guise of, I will give you this information for the day that you're ready to accept it, and you know where to find me when you are. And I would be more than happy to walk with you while you make these changes on your journey. And if you are someone who's like, Molly, I really want to do this, but my whole family will call me crazy. They'll think this, they'll think that. What relationships are you holding on to where the person doesn't agree with what you want to do and what you want to be? And is that person holding your back, and are they holding you back, and are they telling you it's under the guise of what's best for you? Because at the end of the day, you are who knows what's best for you. And when you give your power to other people, they will run the life they think you should have, and it's not going to line up for you because it isn't yours. Do not build your foundation on somebody else's bones. Don't do it, because it is not stable. It reminds me of that John Mayer song, Slow Dancing in a Burning Room. That's what a lot of people do, and they don't realize it. And then the room goes up in flames, and they're like, how the fuck did I get here? It's because you had your Clydesdale blinders on like this, and you didn't see it until it was too late. So if I can help you with anything, I would like to help you see and change your perspective about the ways in which things affect you and how you control that. So again, if this conversation interests you, we talked about it on the Patreon today in the Molly's Musings of my belief about how astrology affects you, the Schumann resonance affects you, how other people affect you. You get to make those decisions every day. Don't let other people dictate it for you. Do not. And if you are someone, and I'm going to say this because I feel the need to, if you are someone who is looking at me and you're like, Molly, you're 20 or 30 years younger than me. What could you possibly know? I don't know how I'm going to. You can make the decision to change your life anytime you want, as long as you're ready to face the fear of the unknown. Do not try to plan for something you have never experienced. You will fall flat on your face and you'll scare yourself. Just keep living day by day and watch how the universe will hold you. But if you are constantly fighting it, you're constantly trying to control it, you will sink your own ship. I do not know how else to say that. The ship will sink. The buoyancy principle will fail. And it's because you are too busy poking and prodding and looking at this hole and, well, what if this happened? And what if this? Stop. What can you control and what can you not? What is within your control and what are you spiraling about for no reason? You can't change other people. You can't fix anybody else. You can't do something for someone else that they won't do for yourself. And that is also to be said about you. People come to me all the time thinking that I perform miracles. I do not. I am not a miracle worker. My gift is being able to see things very differently than other people. And it wasn't always a gift for me. I've been made fun of this shit my whole life. People call me nosy. People, I'm a know-it-all. I'm this, I'm that. I have been made fun of my whole life for this stuff. What do you know everything? How do you know? Can't you just not? I mean, these things are things I was made fun of my whole life. And I made myself small, right? I stopped speaking out. I stopped trying to tell my opinion because I didn't want the backlash. I got so fucking sick and tired of being called a know-it-all. I am not a know-it-all. I just happen to be a very intelligent individual who uses my brain. That doesn't mean I'm a fucking know-it-all. Yes, I have a lot of information. If you feel inferior to that, you would call me a know-it-all. And these are the things that I kept myself small about. This is why I didn't tell anybody I talked to dead people. I didn't want anyone to call me crazy. I didn't want to be called a schizophrenic. I didn't. Especially, I was a corrections officer, okay? So let's talk about that. Can you imagine me as a corrections officer? I talked to dead people. Oh my God. That would have been, what the fuck? Then from there, I went into domestic violence and high risk violence. Can you imagine if I know I do this work and I work in systems and I work in the courts and I do it, but I talk to dead people. That would have gone south. I mean, like so south. So I kept a lot of things to myself because I had a fear of being judged. I had a fear of being perceived. But what these people didn't know is they were using my ability without me telling them. It got to a point in a lot of my jobs, my supervisors would call me, hey, can you tell me how you feel about this? Can you look at this? Can you get a better read on this stuff? You know why I get a better read on it? Because I'm keeping a big secret. Because I didn't want anyone to call me crazy. But guess what? If you want to call me crazy, you want to call me whatever, and I've been called a lot of things since I came out of the closet, that is not my problem. That is a reflection of you. And there are people who want to hear what I have to say. And It's because they feel the same way as me. And I would be doing them and myself a disservice if I didn't share this information. So this is why I've also started implementing some changes in Ether and Ash. We're going to start getting weird. I am going to talk about the things that people don't want to talk about. They find it taboo. You know, they don't want to be judged for talking about. We're going to talk about it because who is? If no one else is, who is? And are we just going to all wait for somebody else to do it? No. So if you are someone who is like, you know, I really want to start doing energy work. I want to start learning about aliens. I want to start learning about my spirit guides. Like, there is nothing stopping you but your own belief system and your judgment of what people are going to say about you. And I would like to give you this piece of information. I went to Catholic school, okay? Just so we're all clear. I went to Catholic school. I got in trouble there a bunch of times. I got kicked out of church once because I asked what Jesus would be like if he gardened. I got in trouble. And the reason that I'm sharing this information with you is because if you look back through your life at all the questions and things you've been interested in, you will see what your soul has been trying to get you to connect with all along. You will find that you have been holding yourself back because of other people's belief systems. You have been holding yourself back for the fear of being judged or perceived. And you have to stop doing that. The other thing that I noted for myself too is there were certain topics that I wasn't speaking about because I had a fear of people confronting me about it. And I don't know why, because I don't have to argue my beliefs with anybody. My beliefs are mine. You don't have to believe me and I don't have to believe you. You don't have to listen to a single thing I say. So if you want to take time out of your day to argue with me, that's a reflection of you, not me. I can't help you with that. I will not argue. It is a waste of my time. I will let people think they are right just so they will shut up. There's no point. My peace is more important. And honestly, if I know that I'm right, if I know that I'm standing within my morals and beliefs, I don't need to convince you of it because you're not me. So the only person I need to know for sure that agrees with it is me. And that is why I spend a lot of time taking inventory of myself. That is the part of shadow work, right? Why do I feel this way? Where is that coming from? And I especially do this with judgment, right? When I find myself having an automatic judgment about somebody, I ask where it comes from. Because the judgments that we make in other people are the cages in which we hold ourselves. Savannah, what I will tell you is that is a learned, so this can be a learned skill, okay? Like, again, so I am someone who, I have been a corrections officer. I worked in a prison during COVID. And especially during COVID, people get heightened. I've worked in psych units. You know, I've worked in these instances where I've had to fight people. I've had people who think I'm a demon. I've had people who are talking to Jesus and then they're talking to me in the middle of it. I have worked in all these segments of ways. And have I always dealt with nice people? No, not at all. If you are dealing with someone who is acting in a couple ways, first off, de-escalation is a whole tactic in its own, but one of the easiest things that my dad ever taught me, and he taught me as a kid, was if someone is yelling at you, do not raise your voice back to them. Talk in an even tone, because they will not be able to keep that same force up if you are not feeding it. It's energy. It's all energy. So if I am not matching that energy, you can't keep puffing your chest. So it's about being grounded and stable in your own nervous system regulation. Your nervous system should not be regulated based on somebody else's. So if you are someone who is dealing with someone who's hooting and hollering in your face, be in your own energy. The other thing too, I can tell you, is if you're dealing with someone, especially, this was a big thing when I worked in the psych unit, was if you're dealing with someone who's super heightened, okay, change the subject. So say you have someone who's screaming at you about something, whatever, ask them a dumb question. What's your favorite kind of ice cream? Now they're going to be what? Because they were ranting and raving about this thing. They're so worked up about it. Just take them out of that track. Put them on another track, right? If you're a part of the Patreon, I talked about emotions this morning and how once we accept the emotion, you've turned on the energy switch. So once that thought has come into your brain, you've now accepted that emotion. You are in control of the emotion track. So the way in which you react to other people is how your inner world is. So if you are dealing with someone who's, rude, aggressive, whatever it is, just respectfully take care of yourself. I'm not saying don't, okay? If you were around for the latest podcast episode, you know that if you need to defend yourself, I'm all for it. However, do not be the predominant aggressor. And also don't stoop to other people's levels. I will tell you guys that I have a current situation in my life where I have a woman who hates me. I do not know another way to describe this to you. She hates me. There is not an ounce of her that likes me. Not one. And every day she goes out of her way to say the most hateful, cruelest, rudest things to me that she can. I'll get it through emails. I'll get it through fake accounts. I get it through random text messages. And in the beginning, I used to mirror her energy. Okay? So I will be the first to admit this, and I don't care however you want to look at it. This woman used to tell me to relapse on a regular basis. I've been sober over 8 years. And so this person would tell me to relapse. They would tell me to unalive myself. They go out of their way to like shred any part of my existence. This person has said terrible, horrific shit about people who are past in my life. And in the beginning, I would mirror that back to her. Okay? So when she would tell me to go unalive myself, I would say things to her in response like, maybe you should go slip into something more comfortable, like a coma. Was that the right thing to do? No. No, it wasn't. And so I had to stop matching energy because that ain't right? I'm just like fueling the same thing. So honestly, when I still get these messages like that are horrible, I'll say like, I hope you have a great day. The last one, I think I said, I hope you have a great Independence Day, was the way I responded to it. And it's because she's not going to keep this up. She can't. She will be like, she may keep finding ways to keep it up, but if I stop giving her the reaction, she's going to get over it one day. So I know that a lot of times we're like, but they're in the wrong and they shouldn't do that. You're right. They shouldn't do that, but no one's going to hold them accountable, and you aren't either. So do what's best for you and let them fall on the sword, whatever that may be. Justice looks different for everybody. And to me, justice is being able to protect my peace and not let somebody control me. And I used to let her ruin my day. Okay? She used to send me messages early in the day and it would ruin my whole day. I would throw my whole day away, ruminating on the shit she said. And I had to realize, like, she doesn't pay my bills. She doesn't provide anything for me. So why am I letting her take up this much space? And I had to stop. I cannot do that. So people can be horrible and ruthless and disgusting all they want. All you can do is be the best version of yourself, right? And I will tell you this too. If you are someone who has overcome adversity, okay, in the heart of hearts, there are people who will have your back all the time. There are, however, some people who will pretend to have your back and then accuse you of being in that same space when they know you're not. So what I will tell you is I have been sober over 8 years. I'm working on my 9th year of sobriety from opiates, and nobody can take that away from me. You can't make up stories about me. You can't tell people otherwise because it's not true. And I know that, and that's all that matters. So if you are also someone who is dealing with a smear campaign, you're dealing with people who are holding the past against you, just know that your truth resonates louder than their mouth. And half of the things that they hold against you that you lived through, they probably wouldn't be able to live through it themselves. And that is one of the reasons you are judged so harshly for it, because they couldn't imagine what it would be like to have to live through that. So do not allow somebody to control you in that aspect either. And I know it's easier said than done. It is a learning process. But people only affect you in the way you let them. And I say this from experience because And I get it all the time being out in the open spiritually. I have people attack me all the time for my beliefs. And that's their right, you know. I mean, their religion has been doing it for thousands of years. It's called the Crusades, but it is what it is. I am going to keep doing me because in my belief system, I don't act like that. I don't. And don't get me wrong. I have no issue holding people accountable, but there is a kind way to do it and a graceful way to do it. And I do not think that tearing people down and shitting on people is the way to do it. I think there is beautiful ways to give constructive feedback while building somebody up. So be kind to yourself. And when you are dealing with people who cannot be kind to you, just know that they are 10 times meaner to themselves than they ever could be to you. And that is what fuels that. And so I am also someone who I used to be not so nice. You know, I used to joke a lot. I used to pick on people a lot. And the reason I did that is it was my defense mechanism. I'll either get you or I'll make fun of me before you can do it. So that way we get it out of the way. And I had to stop learning to do that. And I stopped associating with people who would make fun of me. That's one of the biggest things that this healing journey has taught me is I don't allow people to be in my life if they aren't a reflection of who I am and want to be. And I've had to let a lot of people go. And I've had this conversation with a lot of people recently. Some of the people that I've had in my life that I thought would be there forever, I love them more than anything. I thought we would be friends forever. I never want to talk to some of them again. I never would have thought that would happen. That is growth. That is not something wrong with me. That is not something wrong with you. It is growth. There is just growth there. And sometimes we outgrow people. And we see this in relationships a lot, right? Someone grows like a sunflower and the other one grows like a weed. And you have to make the decision, what's best for you? Are you going to stay with the weed because you've known it for a long time? Or are you going to take over the fact that the weed is killing your plant? I don't care how much you love the plant. I don't care how long the weed has been there. I don't care. It is going to suffocate you. Cut the weed. It is not good. Cut it. Yeah, I had that. You know, I've had it even in ether and ash, you know. When you start putting yourself online, people think that they're owed access to you quite a bit. And you have to be real strong in your boundaries around that. Boundaries are something you learn the more shadow work you do. Because when you don't allow yourself to treat you a certain way, you won't allow other people to treat you that way. And one of the biggest ways that I see that for myself is my inner critic used to be rude. I used to call myself every name in the book. You're a dumb bitch. You're this, you're that, the other. I stopped doing all of that. And now that I stopped doing that, I'll be damned if you're going to call me one. If I won't call myself one, you better not. And that's the biggest difference of what I accept and what I don't accept anymore. Is I don't allow people to treat me like crap because I don't treat myself like crap. That's shadow work. All right. I've ranted for a minute. Oh, Monica. I get that. I think, truthfully, I just want to say, I am going to go soon because I'm getting cotton mouth. I've talked for a hot minute, but also I have to put my laundry in the dryer. So I want to tell you one thing. As of next month, Ether and Ash Patreon will have been alive for a year. And the only reason that's possible is because all of you have helped build this community with me, where we are like-minded individuals who are growing and learning together and being open and honest about it. And so I want to give you guys all the kudos for that and thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey and for joining in on this part of my journey. And truthfully, I am beyond grateful to share this information so that maybe it'll spark a perspective change or give you the initiative you need to see the worth in yourself. I know I used to be someone who would pour into everybody else. I used to tell someone that I would believe in them until they believed in themselves. And all I was doing myself a disservice. And sometimes we have to make those understandings for our best interests, even if they're a little sad. Get it, Savannah? 7's been a big thing today. I am going to do a deep dive soon about numbers in Patreon, so stay tuned. Especially if you're someone who's done a soul contract, you'll see that 7 comes up quite a bit. So I hope you all know that I am so grateful for the community that you guys have helped me build in the last year and a half. And if you had told me in 2023 that we would be here today, I would laugh hysterically. Because in 2023, I was working nonstop. I was on call all the time. I had 2 cell phones, and I was running around from hospital to courthouse to law enforcement to this, all around domestic violence and human trafficking. And that's really what I thought my whole life was supposed to be about. And luckily, the universe showed me that that part of my story was to help me get here. So I am forever grateful for the flip over the universe has given me. And thank you all for being a part of this journey. Thanks for the spirit fingers. Jen Marie, thanks for the money gun, dude. Jen, do you want a shadow card? So also, before I run away, I want to remind you of a couple things. I have a shitload of free resources on YouTube and Patreon. There's free meditations, meet your spirit guide. There's free stuff to learn about energy. If you are someone who wants to dig in more, you'll find tiers in the Patreon. Also, private sessions. If you want to book an intuitive blueprint, that report shows up in your email whenever you book it for. There's so much information in the reports, especially if you're an introvert and you're not ready for the one-on-one, but you want a taste of it. So there is so many options. I try to make myself available for every layer that there could be, because I know what it's like to need community and need help and confirmation, but not have the finances to do so. And that is why I will always have paid stuff, but I will always also have free things available for people, because this shouldn't be a secret. And you shouldn't have to be indoctrinated into a certain belief system to be taught about your own energy. Ugh, all right, Jen Marie, let's see. Sorry, I have like an energy burp stuck in my chest. Oh, all right, let's see. Oh, that was chaotic. I have dry mouth so bad right now. How long have I been yakking? All right, let's see. Jen, this is the reflection card, consideration and recognition. Let's see. More than ever, before you are aware of who you are, this is a fantastic opportunity to work on reflection. You have overcome obstacles, challenges, and barriers along the meandering route of life that is your journey. Take solace in the knowledge that you are more conscious of your needs as a soul. Try making a list as you go towards finding your calling and happiness. What do you know about yourself? List the interests, preferences, and topics that are important to you, such as your career, your love life, and your happiness. Don't doubt yourself. Try sitting quietly so your spirit and sincerity can shine through. Believe in yourself and acknowledge your need, and allow those needs to be reflected back to your happiness compass. This is a personalized call from your spirit. Never settle for less. Compromise continues to be about managing fairness, about agreeing to meet another's needs so you can receive nothing in return. Something in return, sorry. In a compromise, all parties should benefit. You've managed to recognize that what you know about yourself, so keep in mind that when you practice setting your boundaries and advancing in the direction of your needs. Jen Marie, that was fab. Dinky's like, alarm. Okay, I do want to ask this question. No, I am not. I am not. You guys are so welcome. Is there anybody who hasn't had an oracle card yet today who is been waiting for one or who has debated whether they want one, who would like one. I would like to pull one for you before I go if you would like one. And then tonight is movie night if you are someone who hangs out with us in the Discord. So 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the movie. It's a comedy movie. And I'll also be back here tomorrow per usual. We're going to get back to like some kind of regularly scheduled TikTok live program. But just remember, if you're someone who's looking for more stuff, find us on Patreon. You'll find us on the YouTube. I also post these replays on the YouTube for the most part as well. Hi, user. All right, Art Lady. What do we got? Art Lady, this is the Growth of Energy card. I just got that song, Fire. You have been very productive and organized. Trying to prepare for the next step in your life, your creativity is flowing. You have built a nest, and as you look at your potential, the future no longer seems frightening. Everything is in its place, and you are growing the energy for a big new project. The 6 petals in the seed of life signify the blessing that is on your path, and all you have to do is take care and nurture your ideas to see them come to life. This newfound energy is bubbling up and your excitement is lighting up the room. Don't be surprised if people compliment your looks because of your radiant spirit. Art Lady, that was fab. All right, my friends, I love you all. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Feel free, come hang out with us in the Discord. Don't forget tonight's movie night. There's also a ton of resources in the Discord if you would like to see all about shadow work, astrology, walking realms, crystals, shadow work, all the things. You'll find it all there. Enjoy the rest of your Monday afternoon, and I'll see you guys later.